You crack an egg into the pan every morning. You never think about it. It's just breakfast. But here is a question nobody ever asks. There are 10,000 species of birds on this planet. There are thousands of reptiles, millions of fish. Almost all of them lay eggs, and yet you only ever eat one species, one egg, out of all of them. Most people assume the answer is obvious. Chickens are just common, right? But that's not the answer. And the real answer is far stranger than you'd expect, because this isn't a story about chickens. It's a story about how ancient humans wired your brain to crave a very specific thing, and why that rewiring saved your life. Stay till the end. The last part will change how you think about every meal you have ever eaten. So let's go back. Way back, about 10,000 years ago, your ancestors were scavengers. They ate whatever they could find, and eggs were one of the most precious things on Earth. Not chicken eggs specifically, any eggs. Bird eggs from cliff nests, turtle eggs buried in sand, fish eggs floating near riverbanks. Ancient humans ate all of it. Anthropologists have found eggshell fragments at early human campsites on every continent. We know this for certain. Your earliest ancestors were not picky, they were starving. So the question isn't why we stopped eating all eggs. The question is why one egg won, and everything else disappeared from your plate. Here is the moment it all changed. Around 8,000 years ago, in the jungles of Southeast Asia, there was a wild bird called the red junglefowl. It was small, loud, aggressive. Nobody would have looked at it and thought, this animal will feed the entire human civilization. But it had one ability that no other bird had. It could lay an egg almost every single day. In the wild, most birds lay a clutch of eggs once or twice a year. A bald eagle lays 2 eggs per year. A condor lays 1. Even a wild turkey lays around 12 per year and then stops. But the red junglefowl laid constantly, between 10 and 15 eggs in a clutch, then another clutch weeks later. Early humans noticed. And they did something no one had ever done before. They brought it home. This is what archaeologists call the domestication event. And it didn't happen once. Researchers from Uppsala University in Sweden confirmed in 2020 that chickens were domesticated at least twice independently. Once in South Asia, once in China, the same bird, the same discovery, on opposite ends of the continent, because the advantage was so obvious that 2 separate civilizations found it at the same time. But here is what nobody tells you. They didn't domesticate chickens for eggs. Not at first. The earliest evidence suggests chickens were kept for cockfighting, for ritual sacrifice, for status. Eggs were almost an accidental bonus. Isn't that wild? The most important food source in human history started as a sport. But somewhere along the way, someone figured out that if you don't let the hen sit on the eggs, she keeps laying more. And more. And more. That discovery changed everything, because now you weren't just finding eggs in the wild. You were farming them. You had a machine that produced protein every single morning without killing itself. No other animal offered that. And this is where it gets fascinating, because the question isn't just why chickens, the question is, why didn't we do this with anything else? Think about it. Ducks lay eggs, geese lay eggs, quail, ostriches, turkeys, guinea fowl. All of them lay eggs. Why didn't one of them win instead? The answer comes down to 4 things, and each one is more surprising than the last. First, frequency. A modern chicken lays around 300 eggs per year. Some breeds push close to 350. A duck lays around 200. A goose lays around 40. A quail lays around 200, but each egg is tiny. An ostrich lays around 40 to 60 per year, but the eggs are massive, almost impossible to manage at scale. No other domesticated bird comes close to the chicken in eggs per year per bird. It's not even a competition. Second, body size. Chickens are small. They eat very little compared to their output. You feed a chicken a small amount of grain and it gives you a large egg the next morning. The ratio of input to output is extraordinary. A goose eats 3 times as much and gives you 40 eggs per year. An ostrich eats enormous amounts of food and lays less than 1 egg per week. The chicken is the most efficient egg machine evolution ever produced. And ancient farmers figured this out through trial and error over thousands of years. Third, temperament. Chickens are manageable. Not friendly necessarily, but manageable. You can keep hundreds of them in a small space. They don't require much supervision. They follow simple behavioral patterns. Ducks need water. Geese are territorial and aggressive. Turkeys are notoriously difficult to raise. The chicken fit human farming like no other bird. Fourth, the egg itself. A chicken egg has one of the highest biological values of any food on Earth. Biological value is a scientific measurement of how much protein your body can actually absorb and use from a food. Chicken eggs score 94 out of 100, that is higher than beef, higher than fish, higher than milk. One egg contains all the essential amino acids your body needs. Vitamins A, B2, B12, D, and E. Healthy fats. Choline, which your brain literally cannot function without. In a world where food was scarce and starvation was constant, one egg in the morning could be the difference between surviving a hard day or not. Your ancestors didn't choose chicken eggs because they tasted the best. They chose them because they were survival. But here's what's fascinating. If chicken eggs are so perfect, what happened to all the other eggs? Why don't we eat snake eggs? Why don't we eat eagle eggs? Why don't we eat frog eggs or crocodile eggs or penguin eggs? The answer is more complicated than you think, and it reveals something dark about the way humans almost destroyed the food supply before we found the answer. Go back to Europe, 1800s. Before refrigeration, before global supply chains, eggs were precious, and chicken farming was local, so people ate whatever eggs they could find. In England, Guillemot eggs from coastal cliffs were collected by the thousands every spring. In the American Midwest, prairie chicken eggs were a staple food. In the Arctic, indigenous peoples relied on seabird eggs as a critical seasonal food source. All over the world, humans raided wild bird nests every spring, every single year. And then something started to go wrong. The birds started disappearing, not slowly, fast. The great auk, a large flightless seabird, was hunted to extinction partly for its eggs. The last known pair was killed in Iceland in 1844. Prairie chicken populations collapsed across North America. Countless species of ground-nesting birds were pushed to the edge. Because wild birds can only replace what they lose. If you take all the eggs, there are no chicks. If there are no chicks, there is no next generation. The math is brutal and simple. Chickens survived this collapse because they were already domesticated. Their eggs didn't come from the wild. They came from the farm. You couldn't empty a chicken coop and destroy the wild population. They were already under human protection. Every other egg source was wild, and wild things don't survive unlimited human hunger. This is the moment the chicken became the only egg, not because of taste, not because of tradition, because it was the only one left. But now, here is the part nobody ever talks about. The eggs we actually do eat beyond chickens, because the truth is we never completely stopped. Quail eggs are eaten across Japan, South Korea, and Southeast Asia as a delicacy. They are small and rich and slightly gamier than chicken eggs. Duck eggs are common in Vietnam, the Philippines, and parts of China. They have a larger yolk and a stronger flavor. In the Philippines, a fertilized duck egg called balut is one of the most beloved street foods. You eat the developing embryo inside. Millions of people eat it every day. Ostrich eggs are sold at specialty farms in South Africa and parts of Europe. One ostrich egg equals roughly 24 chicken eggs. And then there is fish roe, caviar, the eggs of the beluga sturgeon, one of the most expensive foods on Earth. A single kilogram of beluga caviar can cost over $10,000. So we do eat other animal eggs. We just don't call them breakfast. We call them luxury. And this reveals something profound about the way you think about food, because somewhere in the last few centuries, a rule formed in your brain. Chicken eggs are normal. Everything else is exotic or extreme. That rule did not come from nature, it came from history, from the extinction of wild birds, from the efficiency of factory farming, from the slow narrowing of the human diet until only one option was left standing. You didn't choose the chicken egg. History chose it for you. But here's what might be the strangest part of all. Your brain doesn't just choose food based on what is available. It chooses based on what feels safe. And the psychology of egg disgust is one of the most studied areas in food science. Researchers have found that humans have a powerful instinctive response to unfamiliar eggs. It's called food neophobia, the fear of new food, and it runs deep. In one study published in the journal Appetite in 2010, researchers found that the shape, texture, and appearance of an egg dramatically affected whether people were willing to eat it. Chicken eggs are oval, smooth, and white or brown. Those colors and shapes are now encoded as safe in your brain. A snake egg is oblong and leathery. A frog egg is a gelatinous cluster floating in water. A spider egg sac is a silky white pouch. Your brain looks at those and fires an immediate warning. Not food. Danger. But that warning isn't biological. It's cultural. Children who grow up eating quail eggs don't find them disgusting. Children who grow up eating balut don't find it extreme. The disgust response is not hardwired into your DNA. It was written into your brain by the culture you were born into. And once that program is running, it is almost impossible to override. Even when your rational mind knows something is safe, the gut response fires first. You can read 100 articles about how snake eggs taste like chicken eggs. You still won't eat one, because the fear runs deeper than logic, and the food industry knows this. This is why even in a world where we could theoretically farm duck eggs or quail eggs at scale, almost nobody does. Not because it is impossible, because consumers won't buy it. The chicken egg won the psychology war, not just the biology war. And so the loop closed. The more chicken eggs dominated, the more they felt normal. The more they felt normal, the more everything else felt wrong. And here is where it turns back on you. Because this same mechanism operates in every area of your life, not just food. The things you were exposed to early feel safe. The things you weren't feel threatening. Your taste in music, your political instincts, your comfort zone at work, your reaction to people who are different from you, all of it runs through the same ancient filter. Safe equals familiar. Unfamiliar equals threat. Your brain is still running the survival software of a scavenger who couldn't afford to guess wrong about what they put in their mouth. You are not making free choices about what feels right and wrong. You are executing a program written by your childhood, your culture, and 10,000 years of evolutionary pressure. The chicken egg didn't win because it was the best option. It won because it was the one that survived. And everything that survived long enough became the default, and the default became invisible. And invisible became normal, and normal became the only thing you can imagine. You crack an egg into the pan every morning. You never think about it. And that is exactly how it was designed to work.